Here's one for you folks. I've got this on the old gallery on the phone. I took a picture on from the TV from this morning. I'll read this one to you. Peter Butterworth. You'll have seen him in the thumbnail. He was a regular on the old Carry On films, and that's in picture with his wife. Is it Janet Brown? I think it is. She was probably the female Mike Yarwood, great impressionist of her time. I think her and Faith Brown, were they both impressionists? I think they were. Faith, the glamorous one. Janet, the less so. I think she did a very good Margaret Thatcher, if memory serves. Anyway, this is it. I'll read it to you and then I'll tell you what I already knew, because I'd heard a bit of this before. Peter Butterworth, prisoner of war. Peter Butterworth, a lieutenant is it? I think we say over here, in the Fleet Air Arm of the Royal Navy, is shot down over the Netherlands in 1941 in Stalag Luft 3. He is admired for his sense of humour and helps establish the camp theatre, channeling his energy into directing, designing and performing on stage in shows including Twinkle Twinkle Mr Star and Escape. The performances also helpfully acts as cover for the sound from escape tunnels being dug. After the war, Peter finds fame as a regular cast member of the Carry On films. Right. This is what I know, and then I've got another bit to read you. If this phone goes off, I'm gonna go berserk. Yeah, I'd heard a few months ago now that Peter Butterworth never told anybody, but he'd been a prisoner of war. I never ever knew that. And seemingly today I've heard on the television he was in MI9. I've heard of MI5. I think I've heard of MI6. Don't know what MI9 is. It must be 5+4. He was in MI9, and he's been involved in, the Great Escape. Starlight Love 3 was from where they did the Great Escape, Steve McQueen and all that palaver. He was involved in that, and another one of the escapes they had from there was the old, I think they call it the Trojan horse escape, where there was an horse permanently outside there, that they used to exercise on. Like you get at school when you're a kid, along with the ropes and all that. You used to jump over the old horse. There was someone under the horse there digging a tunnel under the horse while they were all jumping over it. Hard to believe, but true. He was involved in both escapes. Anyway, there's something else there from the Germans, from Germany there, and it's got something that they've done, the Germans have done. And they've got him Peter Butterworth. They've got him as born in Bramhall, Cheshire. Well, it's Bramhall. They've got it as Bramhill, Hill. It's Hall. I know because I'm not a million miles away from that. It's Stockport way, Cheadle. He was born on 4th of February. Good grief, 2 days ago. But 1915. 1915. So what would it be? 109 now if we're still alive. 109, is that right? I think it is. Yeah, 109 it'd be. Good grief. Died a few years ago now, did old Peter. And he resided in the Lake District. He lived his later life in the Lake District. Now, they had his son on the breakfast this morning talking about him, and his son said, I knew nothing about it. Nothing about his war exploits. Never told us anything. Never said anything. He said, but my mother said, and he never mentioned his mother was famous, my mother said, in the early days of the marriage, she said he was terrible. They call it PTSD now. They never had a word for it then. She said she could be in bed with him at night time, and at night time he'd just jump out of bed, and he'd hide on the floor or hide under the bed. She didn't know what was wrong with him. She'd get him back in bed, cover him up. He'd go straight off to sleep. He said often he never woke up when he jumped out of bed. He died. She'd get him back in bed, put a cover over him. I'd be up all night worried to death. She even had to barricade the bedroom door in case he ever walked out the bedroom door and fell down flights of stairs. She said, it was terrible. She said, but after the first few years he got better. She said, but what he did always, he said, I could never understand this. I asked my mum once. He said, what's the crap with him every morning? Every morning he gets up, puts his dressing gown on and walks around the house and into the garden. What's that all about? She said, well, because he can do it. When he was in the prisoner of war camp, there was no gardens or anything there. You couldn't get up and walk, had no freedom. You couldn't do what you wanted to when you want to do it. So it's something he's always done. Anyway, that's the story. As I say, I'd heard about it a few months ago that he was an ex-prisoner of war and sort of forgot about it, but they did it on the TV this morning. And as I say, they showed him some messages that he sent out, or that he was part of decoding messages and some things he did. Obviously a very clever, very valued member of the intelligence, if you like, but never told anybody. So yeah, a bit of a hero, really, and we only know him from seeing him in the Carry On films. Anyway, thought I'd just share it with you. Why? I don't know, just thought I would. I thought it was interesting. Maybe you do too.